Breathe in gently. Settle your body, and let your mind soften as we enter the quiet world of reflection. Before we begin this exploration, a small reminder: if you enjoy calm, reflective content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps this space grow, and it ensures you won't miss any future meditative journeys. Now ease into the sound of silence. Imagine the world dimming round you, like a candle slowly lowering its flame. Tonight we explore a question that many people carry quietly within themselves. Why do smart people often isolate themselves from society? Why do those who think deeply, who question boldly, who see patterns others miss, why do they so often end up alone? This is not a question about arrogance. It is not about people who think they are better than others. It is about something more subtle and more painful. It is about the experience of seeing the world differently and paying a price for that vision. If you have ever felt like you do not quite fit in, if you have ever been in a room full of people and felt completely alone, if you have ever found small talk exhausting and silence refreshing, then this reflection is for you. You are not broken. You are not arrogant. You may simply be someone whose mind works differently. And tonight, we will explore why that difference so often leads to solitude. Let us begin. The first reason smart people isolate themselves is that they notice things others do not notice. Most people move through the world on a kind of autopilot. They follow routines. They repeat familiar phrases. They laugh at jokes because others are laughing. They hold opinions because others hold those opinions. This is not a criticism. It is simply how human beings are designed. Our brains are wired to conserve energy, and thinking is expensive. So we take shortcuts. We rely on habits. We follow the crowd. But some people cannot do this. Their minds are wired differently. They notice inconsistencies. They spot contradictions. They see the gap between what people say and what people do. They hear the unspoken assumptions beneath everyday conversations. And once you start seeing these things, you cannot unsee them. Consider a simple example. A group of people discussing a news event. Most accept the surface narrative without question. But the deep thinker notices the missing details, the logical leaps, the emotional manipulation hidden in the language. They see how the story is designed to provoke a specific reaction. And when they point this out, the group does not thank them. The group becomes uncomfortable. The truth teller is not celebrated. The truth teller is exiled. This is the curse of pattern recognition. You begin to notice that much of social life is performance. People wear masks. People say what is expected. People avoid uncomfortable truths. And the more you notice this, the harder it becomes to participate in the performance yourself. You cannot laugh at a joke you find cruel just because everyone else is laughing. You cannot pretend to believe something you have seen to be false. You cannot join the collective denial of reality just to feel included. And so you step back, not because you hate people, because you cannot pretend. The second reason smart people isolate themselves is that deep conversation is rare. Most social interaction stays on the surface. How is work? How is the family? Did you see the game? The weather is nice today. These exchanges are not meaningless. They serve a purpose. They create a sense of safety and belonging, but they do not nourish the mind that craves depth. For a person who thinks constantly about the nature of existence, the structure of society, the mystery of consciousness, the problem of suffering, small talk can feel like thirst being offered sand. It is not that small talk is bad. It is that it does not satisfy. Imagine wanting to discuss whether free will exists while the person next to you wants to discuss a celebrity breakup. Imagine wanting to explore the nature of time while your colleagues want to debate a sports trade. Imagine carrying questions about death, meaning, love, and truth, and having no one who wants to sit with those questions. This is the daily reality of the deep thinker. They are surrounded by people, but the conversations they need never happen. The questions that matter to them never get asked. And here is the painful part. Finding someone who wants to discuss real questions is difficult. Finding someone who has read the same books, wondered about the same mysteries, stayed up late wrestling with the same doubts, this is rare. Most people are not interested. Not because they are unintelligent. Because they are busy. They are tired. They are surviving. They do not have the luxury of spending hours contemplating the meaning of life. The deep thinker understands this. They do not blame others. But they also cannot pretend that surface conversation meets their needs. And so they withdraw. They spend time alone with books, with ideas, with their own thoughts. Not because they prefer solitude to connection. Because they prefer honest solitude to dishonest connection. The third reason smart people isolate themselves is that they feel things more intensely. High intelligence often comes with high sensitivity. The same mind that notices patterns others miss also notices emotional nuances others miss. The same mind that sees through social performance also feels the weight of social rejection more deeply. This is a difficult combination. You see clearly how people operate. You see the small cruelties, the casual exclusions, the unspoken hierarchies. And because you see them, you feel them. The person who is oblivious to social dynamics can float through life without being wounded. The person who sees everything cannot. Consider a social gathering. Someone makes a passive-aggressive comment disguised as a joke. Most people laugh and move on. But the sensitive deep thinker notices the barb. They feel the sting. They also notice who else noticed. They see the subtle shifts in body language, the brief flash of pain on someone's face, the way the group silently agrees to pretend nothing happened. To perceive all of this is exhausting. It is like having a volume knob that is stuck on high. Every sound is loud. Every emotion is amplified. Every social slight is registered and remembered. Smart people often carry a kind of invisible exhaustion. They are processing more information, more emotion, more complexity than the people around them. It is like running a powerful engine in a small room. The heat builds up. The noise becomes overwhelming. And eventually, you need to step outside just to breathe. Solitude becomes a form of self-protection. Not running away from the world. Regulating your exposure to the worlds so that you do not burn out. The fourth reason smart people isolate themselves is that they have been hurt by trying to fit in. Most deep thinkers have a memory. A time when they shared something genuine. A real question. A vulnerable thought. An honest observation. And the response was not curiosity but mockery. Not engagement but dismissal. Not understanding but rejection. Perhaps it happened in school. A teacher who was threatened by a student who asked too many questions. Classmates who labeled the curious child as strange. The child learns that being smart is not safe. The child learns to hide. Perhaps it happened at work. A colleague who felt exposed by your clarity. A boss who preferred compliance over insight. You offered an honest suggestion, and instead of being heard, you were punished. You learned that the organization does not want truth. It wants loyalty. Perhaps it happened among friends. A moment when you spoke honestly about something that mattered to you, and the room went silent. Or worse, someone laughed. Or worse, someone changed the subject. You learned that your inner world is not welcome at the table. These experiences leave marks. The mind learns a painful lesson. What is genuine in you is not safe to share. What is alive in you is not welcome in the group. And so you learn to hide, to perform, to wear a mask that fits in with the crowd. But wearing a mask is exhausting. And eventually, many people decide that the exhaustion is not worth it. They would rather be alone and authentic than together and false. The fifth reason smart people isolate themselves is that they value their own mind. This sounds simple, but it is profound. When you spend time with people who do not challenge you, who do not interest you, who do not make you think, you are not just bored. You are diminishing yourself. Your mind is a muscle, and, like any muscle, it atrophies without proper use. Deep thinkers understand that their intelligence is not just a trait. It is a tool. It is the instrument through which they understand the world, solve problems, create meaning. And they protect that instrument. They seek out environments that sharpen it, not dull it. They seek out conversations that stretch it, not shrink it. If the only conversations available are shallow, they choose silence. If the only social environments are mentally stagnant, they choose solitude. This is not arrogance. It is stewardship. They are taking care of the only mind they will ever have. There is a metaphor that captures this well. Imagine a musician who only ever gets to play out-of-tune instruments in noisy rooms. Eventually, the musician stops playing in public. Not because they have lost their love for music, because they would rather play alone, on a good instrument, in silence, than play badly in front of an audience that does not care. The solitude preserves the quality of the relationship with the art. The same is true for the deep thinker. Solitude preserves the quality of their relationship with their own mind. The sixth reason smart people isolate themselves is that they are often introverted by nature. There is a relationship between high intelligence and introversion. Not a perfect relationship. There are brilliant extroverts and less brilliant introverts. But studies suggest that intelligent people are more likely to prefer solitude, not because they dislike people, because they find social interaction draining. For an extrovert, being around people is energizing. For an introvert, being around people is costly. It requires energy. It requires focus. It requires managing social cues, filtering impulses, maintaining a performance. After a few hours of social interaction, the introvert is exhausted. They need time alone to recharge. This is not a flaw. It is a difference. But it is a difference that leads to isolation. The introvert says no to parties, no to gatherings, no to extended social time. Not because they are unfriendly, because they know their limits. And the cost of exceeding those limits is burnout, irritability, and a slow resentment toward people who have done nothing wrong. Imagine a battery that drains quickly during social interaction and recharges slowly in solitude. The introvert learns to budget their social energy carefully. They cannot afford to waste it on large groups, superficial conversations, or people who do not matter to them. They save their energy for the few connections that are truly worth it. And for the rest, they choose solitude. The seventh reason smart people isolate themselves is that they have been disappointed by the quality of relationships available to them. Every human being wants to be understood, not just listened to. Understood. To have someone look at you and see not the mask but the real thing. To speak a sentence and have the other person complete the thought before you finish it. To sit in silence and feel not awkwardness but communion. This is rare for anyone, but for the deep thinker, it is especially rare. The pool of people who can meet them at their level of intensity, curiosity, and honesty is small. And when you have tasted genuine understanding, the shallow versions of connection become intolerable. Many smart people have had the experience of being in a room full of people and feeling utterly alone. They have learned that being surrounded by bodies does not cure loneliness. Only genuine connection does. And when genuine connection is not available, solitude is preferable. There is a kind of grief in this. The grief of realizing that most people will never really know you. That most of your inner world will remain unseen. That the conversations you long for may never happen. This grief is real. It is not dramatic to acknowledge it. It is honest. And from this grief, many deep thinkers make a quiet decision. They stop chasing connection. They stop hoping that the next party, the next group, the next friendship will finally provide what they need. They lower their expectations. They learn to find satisfaction in solitary activities. Reading, writing, walking, thinking, creating. These activities do not require anyone else, and they do not disappoint. The eighth reason smart people isolate themselves is that they are often working on something. From the outside, this looks like isolation. From the inside, it is deep engagement. They are not avoiding life. They are living more intensely than most people ever do. They are just living in a way that does not require an audience. Consider the artist who spends months on a single painting. The composer who hears music in their head that no one else can hear yet. The inventor who fails 100 times before succeeding once. These people cannot afford constant social interruption. Their work requires extended periods of focus. Solitude is not a luxury for them. It is a necessity, and here is the irony. The work they do in solitude often ends up serving society more than socializing ever could. The book written alone in a room reaches millions. The scientific discovery made in a quiet lab changes lives. The art created in isolation moves hearts across generations. The solitary worker is not selfish. They are sacrificing present connection for future contribution. The ninth reason smart people isolate themselves is that they have given up on being understood. This is the saddest reason. And the most liberating. At a certain point, many deep thinkers stop trying to explain themselves. They stop hoping that others will get it. They stop translating their inner world into language that the crowd can understand. Not because they are bitter, because they are tired. They have learned that the effort of explanation rarely produces understanding. It more often produces confusion, judgment, or dismissal. So they stop. They keep their thoughts to themselves. They share their real selves with a tiny circle, or with no one at all. They become self-sufficient in their solitude. They learn to find in books, in nature, in work, in their own minds, the companionship that other people seek in groups. This is not defeat. It is adaptation. It is the quiet wisdom of knowing where to invest your limited social energy. And sometimes, the wisest investment is in yourself. There is a particular pain in explaining something that matters deeply to you and watching the other person's eyes glaze over. You see the moment when they stop listening. You see them waiting for their turn to speak. You see that your words have landed on ground too hard for any seed to take root. After enough of these experiences, you stop planting seeds in rocky soil. You save your seeds for a better ground. And if better ground does not come, you learn to grow your garden alone. The 10th reason smart people isolate themselves is that they have found peace in solitude. This is the final reason. And it is the most positive. After years of struggling to fit in, after years of exhausting social performance, after years of hoping for a connection that never comes, many smart people discover something unexpected. Solitude is not lonely. Solitude is peaceful. In solitude, there is no performance. No mask. No pressure to laugh at jokes that are not funny. No need to pretend to agree with things you know are false. Just you. Your thoughts. Your breath. The quiet rhythm of your own mind. And in that peace, something grows. Self-knowledge. Self-acceptance. The slow, steady realization that you are not broken. You are different. And different is not a flaw. It is a gift. A gift that comes with a cost. The cost is isolation. But the gift is the ability to see clearly, to think deeply, to live authentically in a world that rewards conformity. Not everyone is meant to be part of the crowd. Some people are meant to stand apart, to see what others miss, to ask what others avoid, to create what others cannot imagine. And for those people, solitude is not a punishment. It is a home. Let us take a moment to rest here. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out. You have been walking through difficult terrain tonight. The reasons for isolation are many. They are heavy. They are real. But they are not the whole story. The whole story includes this. The same mind that isolates is the same mind that creates. The same sensitivity that gets wounded is the same sensitivity that perceives beauty. The same pattern recognition that makes small talk unbearable is the same pattern recognition that solves problems, invents solutions, and sees opportunities that others cannot see. Your isolation has a purpose. It is not random. It is not punishment. It is the space in which your particular gifts can grow. A seed needs darkness before it can break through the soil. A caterpillar needs the isolation of the cocoon before it can become something new. Your solitude is not emptiness. It is incubation. The world needs the people who think differently. The people who question. The people who refuse to accept comfortable lies. The people who can sit with hard questions and not run away. But these people cannot develop their gifts in the noise of constant social engagement. They need solitude. They need silence. They need the freedom to follow their thoughts wherever they lead. So if you are someone who isolates, do not shame yourself for it. Do not tell yourself that you should be more social, more normal, more like everyone else. You are not everyone else. And that is exactly the point. Before you drift fully into rest, a gentle reminder. If you enjoy this reflection and wish to experience more calming, thought-provoking content, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Your support allows us to continue sharing these meditative journeys with you. Now let the quiet wisdom of this reflection carry you into sleep. If you have felt alone in a crowd, if you have been told you think too much, if you have wondered why connection feels so hard and solitude feels so easy, you are not broken. You are not arrogant. You are not wrong. You are a mind that sees clearly in a world that often prefers not to see. And that is a gift. A heavy gift. But a gift nonetheless. Let go of the shame of your solitude. Let go of the voice that tells you something is wrong with you. That voice belongs to the crowd. The crowd has always been suspicious of those who step away. The crowd needs everyone to stay in line. But you were never meant to stay in line. You were meant to see, to question, to create, to walk your own path, even if that path is often walked alone. Breathe in and let go. Breathe in and let go. You are here. You are enough. And in the quiet of this night, your solitude is not emptiness. It is space. Space to think. Space to be. Space to become who you truly are. Sleep well.